NFL free agency is just around the corner, but before we get there, I mean, literally the day before we get there, I wanted to come on here and knock out a mock draft before free agency. Once free agency happens, everything's going to change, and I'm probably going to completely redo this mock draft, but this is how I think the first round of the NFL draft will go as of now. I'm going to try my best to not spend too much time on any of these picks, even though I am a yapper, but we do have 32 to get through. We're doing the whole first round, so let's start first with the Las Vegas Raiders. We don't need to spend any extra time on this. This pick is going to be Fernando Mendoza. Next, we have the New York Jets, and I actually think that they are going to go with David Bailey with the second pick overall. He has a great baseline, I think. I think he has a pretty high floor. I don't know how high his ceiling is. That's something I do question about him, but I think the Jets are going to really like his high floor. I don't think he'll be a bad NFL player whatsoever. I just question if he can get up to the Myles Garretts of the world. And, we're talking about the best edge rushers in football. But when you're taking a guy number 2 overall, that's the hope. That is what you want him to eventually get to. I question that, but I do think he will be a good edge rusher in the NFL. So I do think that the New York Jets take him here with the second pick overall. Going on to the third pick with the Arizona Cardinals, I think they're going to take Malik Willis in free agency. Of course, there's not a second quarterback. If there was a second good quarterback, they would be taking him here. There's not one. Therefore, I think they're going to get Malik Willis in free agency, and they're going to want to protect him. I know a lot of people really like Jeremiah Love here. I don't love the pick, no pun intended, strictly because I think you need, with the third pick overall, a position that means more. Running back, while can be valuable, you saw it in the Super Bowl with Kenneth Walker, but what did Seahawks do? They let him walk in free agency. I don't think you should be spending high like draft picks on a running back. And I think Arizona, as poorly as they ran, know that as well. And I think they're going to try to protect Malik Willis, who, again, isn't confirmed or anything. That's just my gut, what I think is going to happen. And instead, I think they end up taking Francis Maianoa. He's a 3-year starter, captain last year, good pass pro, pre-snap IQ's there. I think that's the smart pick and the right pick. I think that's what they end up doing. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans. I have gone back and forth with this one a lot, and I'm going to be completely honest here. I am not going with the pick that I would make, but rather the pick that I keep seeing, and I keep seeing Ruben Bain to the Tennessee Titans. I get the pick. I do think the upside is there. While he is smaller in frame, his arm length is a big concern. I do think, though, he is a very versatile player. You can put him on the edge. You can put him against a guard, and he will be a mismatch against that guard. Next, we have the New York Giants, and there's so many ways the Giants could go in this draft. I've thought about multiple different avenues for them. I think I've done this mock 1,000 times trying to get it right, and I still don't love where it's at currently. I'll feel much better about it after free agency. Right now, it's really a shot in the dark, especially when we're talking about the Giants. I do think it's going to be on the offensive side of the ball, but are they going to protect Jackson Dart, especially with the injuries? And that's where I thought originally. But the more I was just looking into it, the more tape I watched on Carnell Tate, man, he's awesome. You put that on the other side of Malik Neighbors, especially because you don't know if you're going to start the season with Malik Neighbors. It depends on where he is in his rehab. I just feel like that's some talent that you don't pass up on. You give Jackson Dart, Cam Scatabo, another just weapon on the outside, which leads us to the Cleveland Browns, who I think would have went Tate if he's there, but of course now he is not, and therefore I think they're going to go O-line instead. And I think they're going to go with Spencer Fano here. He is athletic. He has some finesse blocks to him. 3-year starter at both tackle spots. I really like the versatility. I like the talent there. I think there is a lot of upside with him, and I think the Cleveland Browns see that as well. Where's my mouse? And there it is. They make that pick. Next, we're going with the Washington Commanders, taking Arvell Reese. This is the guy that I would probably have taken instead of Ruben Bain at 4. Honestly, I'd probably take him at 2 over David Bailey. I really like the versatility, off-ball linebacker, edge rusher. Kind of reminds me, in the versatility standpoint, of Micah Parsons, how you can play him at both. Well, who's the head coach over in Washington now? Dan Quinn, who coached Micah Parsons when he was a young player in this league. I love the potential. I love the potential with Arvell Reese, which leads us to the New Orleans Saints. And I think This is a great prime spot for Jeremiah Love to go. I think they probably could use a running back. Kamara's obviously on his last leg. I do like guys like Devin Neal and other running backs they have on this roster, but of course Jeremiah Love is a difference maker, and you like to draft those when you can. The only thing is they also really need a receiver. After trading away Rashid Shaheed midseason, he was a free agent anyway, they really only have Chris Olave. I was very conflicted, I'll say, on them taking, I'll just say it, Mekhi Lemon, mostly because he kind of feels like a high volume, not kind of, he is a high volume receiver, and you see a lot of that with Chris Olave. I don't know if they were going to eat into each other too much, and I was just worried about how that fit's going to work. But after watching more, I think they're going to be able to figure out. I think it's Olave who moves around rather than Lemon. I think Lemon's going to stay in that slot role, and he's just going to eat up a ton of catches. Your concerns about him is he only a slot guy? But that's also a complaint, not to compare him to Justin Jefferson, but that's a complaint you heard about Justin Jefferson and other guys. Maybe he is more than that, but that's all we've really seen him in. Another complaint you might have about him is he's kind of a weird dude, but when it comes to wide receivers, sometimes you like him a little weird. Here at number 9, Kansas City Chiefs, this is where I see Jeremiah Love going. I don't see him falling past this spot at all. I really kind of feel like he should be going sooner, just strictly off talent, but I just don't know if it makes sense about any other pick except for the Saints, but they have a bigger need at receiver, which is more important in my opinion. So therefore, they go with Lemon, and that's why I have the Chiefs going with Love here. Obviously, Kansas City has had struggle running the ball probably since their last Super Bowl win. But Jeremiah Love, I don't know if I need to spend time on him. We all know how great he is. On to the Cincinnati Bengals, who I think are going to take safety Caleb Downs. He has injury concerns. That's come out recently. If those injury concerns didn't exist, he might be my favorite player in the draft. He's one of those guys, when you're watching the film, Caleb Downs just pops off the screen at you. I'm watching films for other guys like a Mendoza or somebody else, and I'm just keep seeing Caleb Downs. I really like him. The injury concerns are obviously there with something about the cartilage in the knee or something along those lines. I didn't know much about it, but I looked into it a little bit and saw that it's actually a concerning thing, and it has bitten players in the past. A guy like Todd Gurley, who had a great peak, and Caleb Downs in this scenario could have a great peak, but fell off super fast due to knee injuries. That's something you worry about Caleb Downs. That's why I think he falls a little bit, but still, I mean, he looks too great to pass on. I think Cincinnati makes the pick. Me from the future, me editing this, I made this video 45 minutes long. That's way too effing long. So I'm going to cut this rest of this way down. Obviously, I let the top 10 play out, but I am going to cut the rest of the picks way down, and I will work on not talking so much as I go on. But yeah, I cannot let this video be like 45 minutes. So the rest of this video is just going to be me naming them, maybe a sentence here or there, but we got to get through this. That's insane. That's on me. Which leads us to the Miami Dolphins at number 11. I do think that they're going to go corner here. Another team that could go a lot of different directions. They have a lot of needs, but I do think they end up going corner, and I think they take Mansour Dulane, which leads us to pick 12. Sonny Styles feels like he should have been gone way before this. The thing is, he's an off-ball linebacker, and like a running back, do you really take an off-ball linebacker way, top 10? That doesn't feel like something you should be doing, but at some point, the talent's just there. You have to take the guy. And I think the Dallas Cowboys do here is they kind of have I almost said luxury. The luxury of having such a bad defense that they need everything on the defense to be fixed. Therefore, they can take the off-ball linebacker because they need everything. Which leads us to the LA Rams. They're one pick since they've traded the other one away to Kansas City. Another team that can go anywhere, but opposite of the Cowboys. It's because they're so good everywhere. And I think they're doing that in Monroe Freeling. Which leads us to the second pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. Another team that could go anywhere. If you look at the needs here on PFF, basically everything. We already took care of the quarterback. O-line is, I think, what I would have gone if Freeling was still available, but he is gone now. So instead, we're just going to take the next thing off the list, and we're going to go with receiver, and we're going to go with Jordan Tyson. Then there's this pick that I don't love because I think it's the wrong choice, and I don't even think it's going to happen. There's a few moves every single year that kind of surprise you. Guys jump up the board a little bit. This isn't some crazy jump, but I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this moment are going to take Cassius Howell, Texas A&M edge rusher, which lead us to the second pick for the New York Jets. They have a big hole on their defensive line now. They just traded away Quinnen Williams to the Dallas Cowboys. This is a pick that I feel great about opposite to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they end up taking Caleb Banks here. On to the Detroit Lions at pick 17. There were so many different ways they could have gone with this pick, but as of now, pre-free agency, after releasing Taylor Decker, they have to go tackle. It was so torn. I did not know what to do here. I ended up going with Blake Miller out of Clemson. On to our next pick with the Minnesota Vikings. I am going to try to be faster at this because I know this is already going on kind of long. And I think they're going to end up taking Dylan Thineman. Next, we have the Carolina Panthers, and I do think this is where Akeem Mesidor goes. Next, we have the Dallas Cowboys second pick, and we're going to go with Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need a receiver so bad. They need separators. So you go down the list. There's not many on here, but I think the closest we get to it is KC Conception from Texas A&M. I'm going to pick 22. We're going to go with an offensive lineman, and we're going to go with Caden Proctor wherever he went right here. Alabama. Next, we're going with the Philadelphia Eagles, taking the freak of nature, Kenyon Sadiq. He had an amazing combine. He got route running. He has separation. He has strength. He has catching. He can block as a tight end. He has all the things you would want. He's just a freak of nature. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns, and they're going to take a guy that I wanted to get off my board way before. I had him going 14 to the Baltimore Ravens before they traded the pick away, and I just didn't really see where he fit. Maybe he should have fit to the Chargers. Maybe that's something I change a little bit later, but as my next mock draft comes out. But as of now, we're going with the Cleveland Browns taking, let me read his name so I get it right. I'm definitely going to butcher the name. I'm not even going to attempt the first name. Last name, Ioane, Penn State guard, onto the Chicago Bears. We have them taking one of my favorite players in this draft, and that is Lee Hunter, defensive tackle. He's a two-down player. That's his biggest weakness, in my opinion. He's not a great pass rusher, so you're not going to have him in on third down. But he's got size, strength, length. He fires off the ball very quickly, and I think that's what really gets me excited is he has the size, strength, and length, but he's also got like a twitchy upper body and fires off the ball. I really, really like Lee Hunter. I think he's going to be a force, and as a Viking fan, I'm really bummed that I have him going to the Chicago Bears. I really hope it doesn't happen because I really like him. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills going on the defensive side of the ball. I had a few different options here. I wanted them to go corner. I actually wanted them to go McCoy, but I think they get a little scared because he missed the entire 2025 season with a torn ACL, and they instead go with his teammate Colton Hood, which leads us to pick number 27, the San Francisco 49ers, and I think they're absolutely going O-line here, and I think that they end up, who do I get him? Caleb, where is he at? Caleb Lomu, which kind of screws the Houston Texans because they also need a tackle. So I think they just go take the next best one anyway. And again, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I literally watched videos before filming this trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. I just couldn't get it. So I'm not even going to try. But we're going to have them take Max here. He is very inexperienced. On to Kansas City. And one of the last things I wanted to do was to come in here and have Kansas City take a corner right after trading away a corner. I get that they kind of need one now, but at the same time, they aren't just trading them away if they really think that they need them enough to spend a first-round pick on them. With that said, I think that McCoy is one of those players that if he is healthy and if it works out, he is going to be a great, great corner in this league, and I think they just take a chance on the talent and the upside that is there for him, which leads us to the Denver Broncos, and I think they're going to go with C.J. Allen, which leads us to our next pick. Bunch of linemen have gone. New England still needs a lineman regardless, which is why I have them going with Emmanuel Pregan, which leads us to the last pick in the first round for this first mock draft, pre-free agency mock draft. And we're going to have the Seattle Seahawks take Jadarian Price. And I think I'm going to have to scroll down kind of far for him. Maybe not, hopefully. There he is. And I misclicked. Seattle has a big hole at running back considering Charbonnet tore his ACL late into the season. It was in the playoffs when he tore his ACL, so you have to wonder when he's going to be able to come back. And obviously Kenneth Walker will not be there this next year. So I think they have a big need for running back, and they fill it here. So that's how I kind of see this first round going before free agency hits. Obviously, you could tell as I was going, I kind of felt unsure about some of these, but that's how I see it going so far. Once free agency happens, probably, I don't know, a couple weeks after free agency, once we're into the pro days, I will make another mock draft and maybe one more right before the draft actually happens. But until then, this is what I got. This video took way longer than I ever expected. I like to talk way too much. That's on me. I'm going to try to fix that next time as well. But if you like the video, make sure to drop a like, drop comments of your any concerns or questions or anything. I love to talk about sports with people, and I love to hear different opinions and different point of views and research them and just see if I think you're absolutely crazy or if I can see where you're coming from and maybe even change my own opinion. I love to talk to people, so make sure to drop a comment as well.